Yeah, -4.
Shit! For October, that's terrible.
It's stupid. It's -4 today. For Halloween in what, 4 days, 3 days? It's 20.
Oh. I mean, the world is like that. There's like a lot of variation in temperatures these days.
Canada especially, you know, that's what they call the Indian summer, which pops up at... You don't expect me, but here I am. Okay, right for Halloween. Thank you very much.
And we're ready to go.
Could I freeze my ball? Oh. What do you mean, like we're live?
You're live.
Oh, hello everyone. Well, let's restart that intro. Hello, middle-aged gamers. That was a total fail, but that's fine. I'm used to it. Welcome to the weekly quest. I think we are at number 5 or 6, maybe 5. You guys know? 6. Okay, fantastic. Well, see, we are already 6 weeks of weekly quest. You know, that's going very fast. I hope you had a very good week. We did, and we're gonna talk to you about the latest news, some of them which might be quite fun or surprising. At least for me it was very surprising, but anyway, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. First of all, please, if you could subscribe, share and like our videos, that would be a great help for us. And with all that said, let's start with... Let me check. Oh, you have a Monster Hunter. So let's start with Adam and Monster Hunter Wilds.
You don't want to start with your own?
I start with my own. Okay, fair enough. Just a second.
I didn't want you to start with your own.
Okay, well, that's fine. Well, I'm gonna start with my own. So, little disclaimer. Yes, we said no politics in this channel. I'm sorry, my cat is jumping. What's wrong with you? Go away. Yes, we usually don't talk about politics on this show, and I'm French, I live in Canada. I couldn't care less, honestly, about American election. It's very noisy right now out there, you know, American election, so I'm trying to avoid all that noise. But while looking at news, I found something very surprising, and I would say a bold move, but actually quite interesting. If you were like me, I don't know for you guys, you will tell me your experience, but back when I was a kid, if you were playing games and watching manga anime like Dragon Ball, something like this, that's not something you were talking about at school, right? It was not something to be proud of. You weren't going to make many friends like this. And how far have we gone? Because right now, politicians are actually using video games to get your votes. And I was extremely surprised, but makes sense, apparently, and that doesn't surprise me. Young people are among the people who vote the least. Not very interesting in politics, and I won't blame them. And one of the ways that, God, what's the name of the guys? The Harris and Vols campaign made a map on Fortnite. So not these guys, of course, that team. I don't suppose that she's very good at Fortnite, but yes, they created a map called the Freedom Town, which kind of looks like Manhattan with a big Statue of the Liberty, to push young people to vote. You know, like it's a political campaign as a Fortnite map on a creative mode. So I'm gonna give you a code. It's not really interesting, sorry, but for a second, if you want to access this stage, it's on the creative map code 7331-5536-6547. It's apparently a pretty large map based on exploration. Not too big on Fortnite. For me, it was merely, like shooting at each other. So shooting at each other in Manhattan. That's more like GTA 6 in my book. GTA 5, sorry, in my book. But could be interesting. But it's this, but with big, like electoral slogan all over you. Say, go vote. So that's kind of fun. Please, what are you doing? Yes, so politicians are using games to reach the younger voters. Sorry, she found the mouse. What the hell? She's being a cat, so she's playing with it. Sorry. don't forget we are live. It's fine. I don't think anybody is watching live anyway. But so yeah, that's it. What are you guys thinking about? Do you think this is an interesting way to reach new voters? Does it mean that video games world has gone so big that now even politicians just can't ignore us? That's kind of the feeling I have now. Yeah, you're a gamer. We want your vote.
Yeah, I don't. Excuse me. I don't think it's going to change too many people's votes. I think if you've already decided who you're voting for, I don't think your Fortnite map's going to convince you to go the other way. Nor do I think it's going to turn anybody away. I think this is more of, I mean, it says go vote, but I think this is probably more geared at younger audiences and trying to get, younger people on your side so that when they are old enough to vote, kind of try to appeal to them early, so that way they get a good impression of you. And I don't think this is so much for people in their, maybe late 20s, maybe some people in their younger 20s, maybe late 20s, but I think people by their 30s or so, I don't think this is going to make any difference. So I think this is really for, say, people in their teens who are going to be voting soon, probably not in this election, but, in elections in the future, and trying to get them on board with the party and trying to get them to think of them favorably. So, I mean, you do what you can to win votes. So I think it's a gamble. I think it's a very safe gamble. In the sense that you could get people really on board. It could also go the other way where you get memed to hell, which is definitely a possibility in today's world. But I think it's probably safer than it is a risk. So it's clever. I'll give them that.
And like Cred was telling me before the show, yeah, actually the guy who's running with Harris, can't remember his name, sorry, but he was using the Twitch platform, so like we are doing, to play Maiden, is it football? Madden, right?
Football
so American football, to play and chat with potential voters on a Twitch channel. So clearly, our world is invading politics. It's surprised, but what do you think, Priyan? You lived in the States a bit, right?
Right. No, I mean, this is not new. Like AOC has been on Twitch since she got into Congress, and I just looked it up. I was like, she has 928,000 followers on Twitch, right? And she's been someone who's sort of engaged with Twitch. I would say probably the most iconic American politician, the largest following on Twitch. I could be wrong there. But again, it's such a nice conversation, because I've seen people who, again, these are all like people like me, liberal, left-leaning people, who are like, yeah, I was on Twitch, I was talking to her, I was like, what do you think about tax breaks for the middle class? And while she's playing video games, she will answer questions. And I think it reminds me of the old sort of like Twitter. I remember I asked a journalist who did an autobiography about Hillary Clinton, and I sent her a tweet. I'm like, hey, I saw this in the book. Like, what do you think? And she replied. And I think that's the beauty of live platforms, right? It's like even somebody watching Adam, like, hey, Adam, I'm thinking about moving to Taiwan. And Adam will give them advice because he's live on air, and he's not going to hold back, right? This is the beauty of playing games, right? It's an accessible, it is non-confrontational. It's not like going to a town hall or even doing a virtual town hall, right? Where it's like, hey, you're on stage with Tim Walz, and now you've got 1,000, 100,000 people listening to you, right? You're playing a game, and you get to ask a question in chat, or if you're playing with the person, right, you get to ask a question, and it's less stressful. I think it's an amazing experience, and it's definitely not from what I know, globally speaking, no one else on the right-wing conservative movement does this kind of stuff. Again, they tend to appeal to older people, so I think it's wonderful. Like Adam said, I totally agree. It's not going to change anybody's mind. I think it is going to sway somebody to say like, hey, I'm a conservative Fortnite player, and look at this person who's here. Maybe I should think about this, right? I think it's if I had to throw around, it would be like a 20%, like, these people are playing something I enjoy, or they're partaking in something that I enjoy. Maybe I should consider their point of view. But it's not going to be like, oh my God, I just saw Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in Fortnite, or they were on Twitch, or they were on YouTube Live, and I'm going to magically switch my mindset and vote liberal or Democrat, right? Or the equivalent in your country. As much as I wish that would happen, it's not going to happen.
Can't wait the future of French presidency being played on Football Manager 25. That's not gonna happen, but that'd be great. And with this, we are not talking about politics on this channel. Window is finished, so thank you very much. Leave us your comments on, whatever you think of our video game world, which is getting bigger and bigger, or at least serve as a bigger tool for political means. And after that, then now we can talk about Monster Hunter Wild with Adam.
Yeah, so we can move on. Excuse me. Oh, I don't know. I've been phlegmy for like the last week or so. So if you are a Monster Hunter fan and you've been wanting to play Monster Hunter Wild, you're going to have to wait a bit. Well, for the actual game. The demo is actually coming out very soon. It will be coming out on November 1st, and it will be running until, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to have to look that one back up real quick. Hang on, let me get this information. I don't remember. I don't know why I closed this. Let me get that back. There we go. It will be running, so the demo will be running from November 1st to the 4th. It is going to be covering the introduction to the game and 2 hunts. One of those hunts is going to be the introduction and the tutorial. The other one is going to be an actual hunt that you can participate on. But if you are on PS Plus, you can start playing the demo you can start playing the beta as of 1 hour ago. So you can play it right now, which means that don't stop watching us if you are watching us live, because you are going to have to download it. Start downloading it now, and then when the show's over, you can go ahead and play, which is what I plan on doing because I pre-downloaded it yesterday. But yeah, the hunts are going to be, I'm going to probably mispronounce these monsters incorrectly because I haven't played Monster Hunter since the original one. But on the introduction is the Catacabra hunt, and that's one that's going to have the tutorial in it. And then there's also going to be the Dashaguma hunt. So those are going to be available. The purpose of the beta is to allow players to experience a limited portion of the game, but also, of course, to verify things like network load and that sort of thing. So you are going to be able to send up SOS flares to get either other people to join your hunts, or if you can't get other people, then you can bring NPCs into your hunts with you. So you can be able to do that. You don't have to face these things alone. Even if you don't have a friend, you can just get an AI to be your friend, which is a sad commentary on the future of our potential social relationships. But yeah, at least you can play, right? And also, it's going to be offering full character creation and palico customization. So that's going to be available. Also, you are going to be able to recreate your character as much as you want throughout the entire demo. So if in the last 2 games, Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter World, if you wanted to change your character in the game, you had to buy what they called a character edit voucher. And so the character edit vouchers, you would get one free one, and then after that, you could then buy other ones. Now, obviously, there were people that would mod the game so that you could get unlimited of these, which I'm not going to mention those mods because I think people should be able to edit their character whenever they want, and I don't want those people who made those mods getting in trouble. I don't want Capcom taking those down. So I'm not going to mention which ones, but you can do your own research on that. But if you're on PC, you could get unlimited edits. But if you're on console, you can't. Now, with the beta, you will have unlimited respecking. I don't know if that'll be in the final game. The fact that they pointed it out as being available in the beta makes it sound like it won't be available in the main game, but hopefully they'll change their mind, because they do say on the website that this is not the final product, and they may be making changes depending on how things go in the beta. So, but yeah, and if, again, like I said, the PS Plus starts October 28th, which is today, goes to October 31st, and then it is available for everybody on November 1st to November 4th. If you are playing the PS Plus version of the beta, then you can just carry over your data from that beta to the second beta, which will then carry over to the main game. So you will have a total of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll have about 7 or 8. You'll have about a week to play this game as much as you want with those 2 fights. I don't know what weapons will be available. I don't know if all of them will be available or not. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm going to check the terms of service on this. I would think being an open beta, it should be okay to stream, but still better safe than sorry. So I'll check the terms of service when I do finally play it later today. And then, yeah, if it's okay to stream, then I'll probably be streaming that because I finished Dead Space last week. And yeah, now I have no games to play on Wednesday and Friday. So this makes perfect sense.
No games for Halloween.
Yeah. I mean, I could do Project Zomboid. I still have that one. So
no, that's still in the sim, yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree. If it's an open beta, it should be safe to stream.
Should be fine. I've been a few closed betas, and they definitely say you cannot stream this. So
yes, well,
I have a question for you guys. Like, do people in our age group still play demos and like short access games like this? Because I was like thinking, like, even I bought Frostpunk 2. I'm like, I realized I'm never gonna play Frostpunk 2. It's terrible. I mean, just because there's just no time to play it. It's just play Coral Island, finish Echoes of Wisdom. 2025 gone. And I mean, there's just like, I mean, why would anyone why would people in our age group play a demo? I mean, do people play demos? I guess you guys tell me, what do you think?
I still play demos. I played the demo for Stellar Blade. I played the demo for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I played the character creation. It wasn't really a demo, but for Dragon's Dogma. And I'm going to be playing the demo for Monster Hunter World. So, I mean, at least I do. Especially with something like this being an open beta and it being such a big game, I do think people will do it because it's like, even if you are the kind of person who plays one game at a time, these are only available for a week. So you're like, okay, I'll just play it for a week. And then I just hop right back into the game I was playing. So, you know, and then there's definitely that FOMO, you know, in there of like, oh, if I don't play it now, I can't play it next week because it won't be available. I have to play it this week. So I think that's part of it too. So I think demos are still viable. Yeah.
And I would actually recommend it because you can, a demo is usually either free or very cheap as an early access. And you know that I'm going to do the early access of Subnautica, even though it's going to be completely different from the finally released game. But if it's something like Monster Hunter that, let's say, I have never played the Monster Hunter Until World, right? And I would have, if I could, I should have played the demo first to see what hype is all about, because it's very specific gameplay to a very specific game. You either love it or hate it, really. And a demo is really good for you to say, okay, I played 2 hours of this game. I love the gameplay, whatever it's going to be. So yes, I know I'm going to wishlist this game and buy it at launch. If you don't like it, when you just saved $80 on a game you're not going to play.
Yeah, that actually happened to me recently because Rise of Ronin was a game I'd kind of been watching for a while. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I want to play Rise of Ronin. I liked Neo too. So, you know, maybe this will be a similar game that I'll enjoy. You know, I like Ghost of Tsushima. So why not? And I tried the demo and yeah, it didn't click with me. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just give this one a skip. So.
All right, then to summarize then, for both of you guys, you make time to play a demo because you don't love the thing you're playing now?
No, I make it.
Or you can stop the thing you're playing now and then go to the demo and come back to the thing you're currently playing?
Yeah, a demo. I just do a demo as like a, you know, it's the same thing as watching a trailer, but it's a playable trailer for me. It's like, okay, you know, why do you watch videos on YouTube? Well, it's because you look at the game and you're like, okay, do I want to play this game? Let me check out a video. Okay, that looks interesting. Or, oh, that doesn't look interesting. Same reason, you know, a lot of people go on Twitch. And a demo for me is just that. It's like, okay, well, I'm limited to 2 hours, you know, so, you know, if I play a demo today, I can go back to the game. You know, if I'm playing, you know, Final Fantasy whatever, and it's Wednesday, I can play the demo tomorrow on Thursday, and then on Friday I'll be back to Final Fantasy again. You know, not playing this other game that I'm playing for one day, it's not a huge time sink, and it'll give me a good idea of whether I want to buy a game or not.
I see it as an investment because when you buy a game, especially $80, you want to try to finish it, even if you don't completely 100% it, right? And it could be as much as 40, 50, 100 hours, even more depending on the game. Play the demo first and you will see if you're gonna enjoy these 50 hours or not. And you can save yourself 50 hours to play something that you're gonna actually enjoy. So I don't think it's time lost. On the contrary, it's time saved.
For me, I just don't get. I've been thinking about this recently. It's like even with early access, right? Like if you're playing something you love right now, why would you stop playing it just to play a demo? And that's the thing that I wouldn't. Maybe I won't do that anymore. It's like if I'm going to play something, I'll play it and play it, regardless if the perfect game came out, right? It's as a demo or as an early access. I can't see myself stopping playing something I enjoy to try to take a roll of dice and play something that I might enjoy or might not enjoy.
I'm with you there. I wouldn't stop. If I'm invested on a game, I wouldn't stop it just to play a demo. Demo is really just like these days I'm playing 40 minutes of Helldivers here and there just because I don't have time. That's a good time to try a demo. If you're in the middle of Persona 3, 150 hours, I wouldn't just stop in the middle to play something else.
But Adam, you would stop, right? If you're like in the middle of something.
Yeah, to me it would be like if you're binging a series on Netflix or something like that, right? And you know how like at the end of a Netflix episode, you know how like sometimes they'll do like ads for other shows. I guess usually now they do it at the end of when you finish a series or whatever. But imagine like if at the end of each episode they showed you like, you know, a 10-minute, or no, sorry, not 10-minute, like a 20-second trailer for another show, right? And you see another show and you're like, oh, okay, that looks interesting. You know, let me just pause what I'm watching right now, watch a short YouTube video on it, you know, 5 minutes, and then decide, well, do I want to add this show to my watch list and then watch it once I'm done with this show? You know, because if I'm like on episode 10 of, you know, 80 and I see a trailer for another thing that looks interesting, by the time I get to episode 80, I'll probably forget what that is. So what I'll do is, you know, you might stop, watch a little 5-minute video, you know, like a YouTube clip or something. Is this the kind of, you know, a review of the show or whatever? And then be, okay, do I add this to my watch list? I do. Add it to my watch list and then go back to what I'm watching. So for me, it's just that, you know, I'm playing a regular game and I'm like, oh, okay, this other game looks interesting. Do I want to add it to my wish list? Okay, well, let me try the demo. I mean, if it's a demo that's available all the time, I'll wait till I'm done, right? Like if I'm playing Persona, I'll finish Persona, then I'll play the demo, then I might play the next game. I did the same thing with Rise of Ronin demo. I played it between two games. But something like this, where it's a limited time, it's like, okay, well, you know, I can't do that later, so I might as well just do it now and then go back to the, you know, I won't be able to play this next week, so I'll just go back to what I was regularly playing.
Cool. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, that was a great topic actually. And that's the topic I chose first because Korean's first story, it's on a game that's going to have a lot of trouble pronouncing. I think we're going to talk about Merswodo, something like this.
Actually, I want to jump to my second story first.
Story first.
Just for the sake of time. So if you guys follow us on Threads, you would see I posted something with a picture of the Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella, and how he got a $30 million raise. Adam saw this story this week as well. He got a $30 million raise after they laid off so far year to date 2,550 employees, something along that line, right? And that's terrible, right? You got a $30 million raise, and someone in Reddit did the math. So for his raise, I think basically for each person fired, it was $28,000 roughly, right? And that came up to his $30 million raise, which is, again, lots of you argued with me on this about Threads, you know, like Microsoft's, you know, also in the $1 trillion market cap company range these days. They totally deserve it. But again, if you listen to my rants about many things, you know, I'm definitely more on the left-leaning side of things, and I don't think CEOs should be making crazy money like that. I posted something on Threads yesterday which shows that the average CEO in the US now earns more than 290 times the typical worker, right? Which is ridiculous, right? No person does 290 times more work than the other person. That's more than 2 people or 3 people, whatever. It's no. Rich people, you don't deserve that money. I'll say that right now. That's tiny rant being said. Let's go over the gaming's top earners as of 2023. Now, in certain cases in 2024, this might have changed. Like the number 1 on our list is Bobby Kotick, and of course, you know, Blizzard Activision doesn't technically exist anymore. But as of 2023, his base salary was $875,000 and total compensation $375 million for the year of 2023. And I think that number is inflated because that includes his exit package. So if you're not familiar with finance or business or that sort of stuff, is when someone leaves a company or they're pushed out or whatever the reason may be, right? They usually get like a bonus, like the former CEO of Starbucks got $37 million this year for leaving Starbucks. And then loads of CEOs, they get like multi-million-dollar packages to say, hey, even if you're good or bad, you get multi-million dollars to leave the company and probably sign a few NDAs to say, hey, I won't talk about what I did or I didn't do. So Bobby Kotick, number 1. Number 2 was Robert Entrecol, Playtika. Antoine and I were talking about this before the show started. They were like, what the hell is Playtika? Playtika has to do with the World Series of Poker. And he had a total compensation of $48 million, but a base salary of $17,000. And people were like, base salary $17,000. Oh, that guy's so nice. No, he's not. He's still another rich person. Loads of people have like salaries of 0. Plus they get stock options and bonus options and performance options and that sort of stuff. So the next, number 3 is the CEO of Take-Two, which is Strauss Zelnick, which is a name I've never heard. Base salary of $250,000, total compensation of $42 million. And I guess that's what you get when you turn GTA 5 into this microtransaction full game with lots of role-playing and other things and people buying Sharka cards, which I thought was the coolest and the worst name at the same time for cash in GTA 5. Number 4 is John Riccitiello, ex-Unity CEO. 27 million. Number 5, Andrew Paradise Skills. I have no idea what this company is. I'm gonna skip that. Oh, it's online gambling. Number 6, Andrew Wilson, EA CEO, with a total compensation of 25 million. Number 7, Zynga. Number 8, Min Liang Tan. Oh, Tan Ming Liang would be the right way. The CEO of Razer. It's nice to see representation on here with a total compensation of 10 million. Kim Tae-jin, the CEO of NCSoft, which I didn't realize NCSoft was that big. Total compensation 7 million. And the cool thing at the bottom over here is they mentioned the CEO of FromSoft, Hidetaka Miyazaki, and they don't mention a specific number, but they do mention like Nintendo and FromSoft having much lower salaries because they care about the companies and the employees, and which again, you know, when all these layoffs started happening 2 years ago, right? Like, I remember Taiwanese friends asking me like, why are these people getting laid off, right? Like, layoffs tend to not happen in Asia. Companies save a lot of money. It is also, there's a big system on loyalty, and I know some of you may be thinking, oh my God, Asian work sounds amazing and stuff, but again, you come with lower salaries, much lower salaries. Though in some companies that is made up in the sense of you might get a 6 to 9 month bonus all at one time come Chinese New Year next year. You might get, and in some really big companies, you get 2 years or 3 years of your salary, but those are usually the semiconductor companies. So yeah, it's I think for me, the conclusion is basically gaming CEOs have not escaped the other CEO salary compensation line where it's like they earn too much money for doing too little. They oversee a lot, for sure. They oversee a general vision of where we're going to take Take-Two or where we're going to take EA. And in some cases, I would argue it's the wrong direction. And I'm very much in the camp of saying you don't need to earn more than $2 to $3 million per year as a person, right? What are you doing with that extra money? You're sending your kids to boarding school in Switzerland. They don't need to go there. But that's my take. I'll let the guys talk about whatever they want to talk about when it comes to salaries and CEOs.
Yeah, no, the Asian work is not ideal. The part of the reason that people don't get laid off is because of the laws. That's one thing that Japan is pretty known for, is that and part of the reason why they didn't have the layoffs that the West did is because their laws prevented the companies from laying off people. Unless, I think the law is basically you have to prove that the employee is problematic and that they are actually deserving of being laid off. You can't lay them off because the company doesn't have the money to support them. You have to prove that they are actually detrimental to the company. And because of that, it makes it much harder to do layoffs when you're just like, oh, okay, well, we're trying to cut costs, because you can't do that. So that's part of the reason why that people don't get laid off as much here. But like even yesterday, I was teaching a class. It's a corporate class. They're a semiconductor company. It's not TSMC. It's a much smaller company. But they were saying, you know, on average, they come in 8 a.m. and they don't leave the office until 9 p.m. So, you know, they're working 12 hours a day, and they're actually they're in the office 13 hours a day, 5 days a week. And they're not even the worst. I worked with an accounting firm once, and they were like, yeah, there are days where, you know, we'll finish the day and we have 4 hours before we have to start work again. So we don't even go home for a week. You know, like I'll go home 1 day a week, and the rest of the days I'll just sleep at the office because there's just not enough time. So yeah, not an ideal situation, just because they don't get laid off. There are other downsides to it. But yeah, I mean, I see both sides of the argument. I mean, obviously, do you need to be making that much money over somebody else? No, but at the same time, I think there is an argument to be made similar to sports stars, where it's like, okay, what, you know, maybe you're not doing all the work, but you are adding value, you know, by being there, and your experience and what you've done. Kind of like, you know, if you have a soccer player who's just really, really good. I mean, they're not carrying the team. They still have other players on the team who are working just as hard. But that person, because they have name brand recognition and that sort of thing, they bring value to the team. So, you know, does it have to be 290 times what your average worker is making? No. But I can see certain arguments for it. But yeah, I wish I had that much money. I wish I was making that much, because I'm not making nearly that much. So,
what do you think, Antoine?
To be honest, it's hard to think. The numbers is so big. It's like winning the lottery every year is not even close to what they're earning. So it's another world. Clearly, that's too much. Of course, it's too much. I have no clue what their day is like, what their responsibility is like. I'm not even sure it's something that I envy, because, you know, like it's, you know, you talk about sports team, I'm thinking about rock stars. They're earning a lot, but you really want to live their life. You don't have a life. You sell your life, and do you really enjoy the money you make? I'm not entirely sure of that, because you're working 24/7, 7 days a week when you CEO, right? You don't really have time for family or things like that. So I can't say I envy that. Yes, it's disproportionate, and clearly, I'm not going to say the Asian model is perfect either, because of the black company type of work. You just said absolutely insane work-life balance is essential. I just feel that with this kind of videos we can have so no comments. And good, story which is it controversial? No, it's not so much. Like global friends. But maybe you know, or not, but NVIDIA was doing very well for a while, and they've been fighting with Apple for a while over who is the most valuable company. And as of October 25th, maybe it's not the case 3 days later, I don't know. But as of October 25th, they were the world's most valuable company with a market value of $3.53 trillion money. Trillion money. I mean the sense. So this is the kind of numbers that it's difficult to comprehend, of course. But yeah, so you know, we have a company, a gamers company, clearly, who is at the top of the world. And you can wonder, is it really, how come NVIDIA is, you know, so valuable? Well, you know, cryptocurrency might have helped, you know, like Korean can tell you. But when you have some very nice GPU card series, you can mine quite a lot, you know, a mining farm has helped. They made some very good investment in AI with the automotive industry. And now AI, you know, is a big talk of every company in the world, and NVIDIA is at the forefront of this. So a very, very good investment. And I'm actually surprised that NVIDIA CEO is not in your list, to be fairly honest with you, because clearly, you know, if the CEO is the captain steering the ship, this captain has done a good work, right? And on top of all of this, 2025, I don't have the date, in January actually, they're gonna announce, it's crazy at the rhythm they're going to, the RTX 5000 series. I'm just you know, coming down on the fact that we're on the 4060, 4070 Ti or S or whatever, and we're already on the 5000 series in January. There is no stopping NVIDIA these days. So yeah, they are at least as valuable as Apple. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but yes, gaming industry represent the world these days. So yes, it's a very much a business conversation, business and political show today, which is curious, but you know, that happens. It's because we're close to Halloween, so we want to scare you. So what do you guys think of NVIDIA? Do you wish that you would have invested in NVIDIA 10 years ago?
Of course.
Because NVIDIA is 25 years old. With, I think, I have it somewhere, but in 1999, you had the RTX 256, the NVIDIA GeForce, of course, not RTX, the GeForce 256, which put them on the map in 1999. You don't feel old now, right?
I was talking about something the other day. I was feeling old. Not that particularly, but yeah.
So, any idea, any comments about NVIDIA?
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember, I think when I started biking again after like 20 years, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about NVIDIA's financials were not good. This would have been like 5 or 6 years ago. And the reason why is that they were investing in AI and data centers and that sort of stuff. And the news, I think, sort of like last week or 2 weeks ago, was that they released a new AI chip, which is like the H100 or something like that, right? And this is the chip that X bought a bunch of to make their Grok AI. And there was a problem with the chip. And the story was that TSMC in Taiwan helped NVIDIA fix it. And originally people were like, oh my God, TSMC screwed up. This is why this chip had a problem. But no, I mean, NVIDIA is always going to be ahead of the game. In some ways good, in some ways bad. Like NVIDIA is so ahead in terms of the GPU market. Earlier this year, AMD basically said, yeah, we're not doing high-end GPUs. So I mentioned this on the show, I believe, is like Atom and Mine GPU is the last in the line of GPUs that AMD are going to make, because from whatever the 8000 series or the 9000 series is going to be, it's only going to be mid and low range AMD cards, just because it's not worth it apparently on the AMD. I mean, not apparently, like realistically, it's not worth it for them to put in all this money and resources into making GPUs, because I think AMD still controls or only controls 2.5% of the market in terms of GPUs, which is terrible. So I'm not happy about NVIDIA's GPU news. Don't get me wrong, the GPUs are great, but I think it's bad that we have NVIDIA controlling 90, no, not 90, but it's is it 90% of the market pretty much.
A monopoly.
So I think someone needs to go after them and break them up like the DOJ is doing with Google.
Good luck with that.
Yes. Good luck.
And with this little business news, let's go back to Adam with a story on a game we never talk about, Final Fantasy.
No, we never talk about Final Fantasy. What we do talk about quite often, though, is Magic the Gathering. We have talked about this game non-stop since the beginning of the show. I've actually never played Magic the Gathering. Have you guys ever played? Okay, Antoine's played. Has Korean played? Okay, I've never played.
Yeah.
Growing up, I knew people that played, but we had a lot of those satanic panic kind of moms that were like, Magic the Gathering is Satanism. And so most of us didn't really play. We played other games. We played other card games. We played Pokemon. We played, there was like some Star Wars card games that we played. Apparently, Final Fantasy even has its own trading card game. So if you want to, you can hop into that. They actually, on their website, on the Square Enix website, they have a tutorial, teaches you how to play and everything. Seems pretty simple. So I have no clue how to play Magic the Gathering. But they've been doing several collaborations with various video games and game franchises. They've already done one with Street Fighter, Fortnite, Fallout, and 40K. And apparently later on next year, 2025, they're supposed to be doing one with Assassin's Creed. So they are getting a lot of these kind of themed packs with collabs with other people. So anyway, this is going to be featuring all sorts of characters, weapons, monsters, summons, and locations from the various Final Fantasy games. The characters that we've seen are Lightning, Sephiroth, Kefka, and Emmett Selk, but they also mentioned that Terra, Noctis, and Cloud will be included. We know that they're going to be Chocobos and Behemoths. We've seen the male Moogle from Final Fantasy 14. I have no idea what his card's going to be, but I'd be kind of curious. Like I said, they said weapons, so I'm assuming things like Buster Swords and gun blades and all that sort of thing, and locations. So apparently on the on the trailer, I guess they would call it, or the kind of the announcement, they said that this is going to be the largest collection of Final Fantasy artwork ever in a single game, which seems odd because I went and I was like, okay, but Final Fantasy has its own card game. So is this going to have more cards in Magic than it has its own card game? So I went to their website and I looked. It looks like they have 3,308 cards for the Final Fantasy card game. So I'm not sure how Magic's going to have more art than any other game. But maybe they just mean more art than any other non-official Final Fantasy game. Maybe they mean like the largest art in terms of a collab. That might be a possibility. So, but yeah, and this brings up, this will be available on June 13th, 2025. So you can go out and you can check out, try to get your cards there. I'm sure a lot of people who've never played Magic before are just going to be grabbing these for the collectability of them. But it has brought up some old allegations of Wizards of the Coast. Is it Wizards of the Coast? That's the people who you do this, right? Am I correct on that? Yep.
Yes.
Wizards of the Coast.
That's Sunshine and Dragon.
Yep. So this has brought up some old accusations of them using AI art. Some people went through and they were analyzing specifically the Sephiroth photo that they released. And there were things where like parts of the sword don't necessarily connect. It looks like the blade of the sword is kind of floating away from the, what do you call it? The guard.
The shaft?
Yeah, the shaft, sure. But yeah, so they and then Wizards of the Coast had earlier been accused of using AI art, and they said no, we are not using AI art. And then later on, when people went through and analyzed things, they came out a week later and they were like, oh, okay, so actually yes, there was AI art in our promotional material. But we do all of our art is created by humans. That AI is due to various art suites like Photoshop now implementing AI in their tool sets. And so the AI that is being used is in the tool sets of the art suites, such as Photoshop, not AI generated. So who knows? They're claiming that these are all originally done. They even include, if you go to the website and look, they'll show you the name of the artists that created all these pieces of art. So accusations, but nobody's been able to prove anything. So something worth mentioning, but we'll see. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be the tough stuff about the future, right? Trying to prove something is AI or not.
It's gonna get harder.
Oh yes, very, very hard. And yes, I did play Magic. I had a green deck and I was crap at it. Always lost. That's why I stopped.
I never played the card game. I think I mentioned this on the show because I went to an all boys school and playing Magic would have been like a social death sentence, would have gotten beaten up and stuff. But I played Magic Arena as a 20-something person when it was online, when they launched like the beta, and I was like, oh cool, Magic is super fun. And then at that time I was playing Hearthstone, I was playing like I think another card game at the same time. And I just was like, nope, can't play more than one card game. Which, speaking of, Pokemon TCG launches in 2 days. So that is another card game I'll have to figure out. Do I stop Snap or start playing Pokemon or not? We'll have to see.
Sorry, I think I'm cutting out a little bit, so that might be a bit...
No, you're fine. I haven't seen any problem.
Okay, it's very choppy for me. All good, that's all right. I'm gonna launch Mirthwood, actually, last story for the day. So, Krian, all yours.
Sure. So, I was replacing the thermal grease on my computer on the weekend. I was listening to a channel that Adam and I watch, which is Game Ranks' games coming out in November. And I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. And the art looked really wonderful as usual, which is the thing that always catches my eye. Was basically this, and I just realized this is totally the wrong notes that I have opened up for the game, which is fine. But Method is basically another long line of farming, life sim, simulated role games. And this sort of like, as I was looking at the Steam description and watching the trailer, and this sort of reminded me of what Coral Island did, which was sort of step up this level of immersiveness where you're in a game, right? Where in Coral Island, which I find 90% of the time where you're running around, you'll never see an event occur more than once. You'll never see someone say the same thing more than once. And I mean, in 62 hours in the game, and no one has repeated a line of dialogue to me, right? Which is pretty amazing. And I think this is what Mirthwood is doing. What Mirthwood is doing is sort of taking this element, putting it in another art style and saying, let's simulate everything, every character, let's give them their own lives and what they're gonna do for your 30, 40, 50-hour playthrough of the game. So Mirthwood is just a game that has a really, really cool art style. And you're put in this place, you get to do all the things you typically do in a game, and I'm sorry, I'm repeating a lot of the stuff that I've said in other games, is basically you get to raise crops, you get to go out, explore, and fight things. One of the cool things, if you're looking at the Steam page of the game, is that they have this really cool interaction system. Like in Coral Island, in Stardew Valley, in Harvest Moon, what is called Story of Seasons on the Switch. Basically, it's like, hey, dialogue, choose 1, 2, or 3. In this game, they seem to have like a system where it's like chat, influence, joke about somebody. You have a bunch of options to talk to somebody, and sort of like categories. And when you click on a category, it's like, okay, oh man, your mama's so fat she blocks out the moon, that sort of stuff, but probably not that kind of joke though. So it's got a really cool dialogue system. And that's one of the things that they highlight. If you go onto YouTube, you Google Mirthwood, you find the channel, which I think that's the one thing YouTube sort of sucks at. We're kind of lucky with middle-aged gaming. When you Google middle-aged gaming, we're usually #1 these days, not like a year ago. But like when you Google Mirthwood, you're going to see IGN first. You're going to see game ranks and game trailers, right? And you have to go all the way down. But when you go onto their channel, you'll find a bunch of videos. And on those videos, the thing that really sets this game apart from other sort of farming life sim games is this dialogue interaction influence system. Like you can sort of say, hey, I heard this guy is cheating on that guy with this guy's wife. Something like that, I don't know. Some really messed up love quadrangle sort of situation. Like, there's a lot of cool interactions. Reminds me of a game that Antoine talked about at one point. But like the ring worlds, it sort of takes up the interaction and dialogue system a step up from your typical farming, life sim, adventure, explore, fighting game. That's something I hope my time in Evershine does, though I know that's not going to happen. It was not on their sort of list of things to do, and people tend to not like that kind of system in a sense. But I'm excited for Mirthwood. When I have time to play it is another story. This is actually, as much as I'm talking about it now, this is probably going to be one of those games that I never play just because I'm playing Coral Island, and I'm like, after 60 hours, I was Googling stuff yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, I have another 120 hours of gameplay to do. So that's until the end of the year with 1 hour a day. And how many days left of the year? 60? Yeah. So yeah, I won't be finishing Coral Island until 2025 if I'm lucky. Which is why there's no time for demos, unfortunately, for me anyway. But anyway, yeah, that is Mirthwood. It is a game if you have nothing to play, or it might be something to add to your Steam lists. My list is 149 games at the moment, my wish list. So at some point, I will play some of them. I don't know. But yeah, that's it for me.
Perfect. And since you talked about Coral Island, just before we're talking about, the Animal Crossing mobile, which is going down and being revived as a pay, so no more microtransaction, right? Now you have to pay for the mobile game. Camper something?
Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
Pocket Camp, right, exactly.
Yes.
So yes, you can buy for about $10 the game which is coming back in December.
Yes, I just looked on my phone. It's December 3rd. And if you pre-order it, or even if you don't pre-order it, right? You have to pre-order, right? You can still take your original save data from your free-to-play Animal Crossing, and it will move to the paid version. So you can continue playing. And I mean, the wonderful thing is, like, if you are going to get on a plane like me to South Africa next year, and maybe to France this year, it works offline. So you can play Animal Crossing offline on your phone.
Which is great. Maybe at some point I should play one on the Switch. And with this, at the end of the show, thank you, Cassia. Thank you for the microphone. So what you guys are playing this week? So Adam, you said maybe Project Zomboid for Halloween on Thursday. Ukraine, you said, of course, Coral Island, and I don't think you have time for much else. And because I'm busy with work these days, I'm just doing a bit of Helldivers. So that's basically our video game news for activity, at least for the week. Or do you have anything else planned?
Monster Hunter Wilds, but yeah. No.
Oh, the potential Switch 2 announcement, right? This week.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, correct. All right, so maybe stay with us next week, and on the weekly quest 7, if I count correctly, we'll talk about an announcement on Switch 2, where I can already tell you that the Elden Ring is supposed to get out on Switch 2 this late 2025. And it's news from a few hours ago. So thank you for watching us. Again, I keep repeating myself, but please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. We love when you talk to us. And thank you. And either good night if you are like me in Canada, and have a good day if you are like the guys in Taiwan. Bye-bye.
Bye.